to create a software architecture, but you don't know exactly where to start? Or are you working on a software architecture, but you're not sure if you're covering the right design aspects or addressing the right stakeholder concerns? Then this course might be something for you. I'm talking about the course Good Software Architecture, organized by the High Tech Institute, and I'm your teacher, Robert Dekkers. When I first started to work on this course, and actually the approach that's behind the course, I studied many different books on software architecture, and there are many of them, really a lot. And what I noticed is all these books, they have a lot in common, but they're not the same, and they all make sense, but they tell a different story. And I asked myself, why is this? And one of the most important reasons, I think they all have implicitly, or many of them have implicitly, a different opinion about what a good architecture is. And that's where we came up with the idea of good architecture. So me and a bunch of my former colleagues, we started working on the notion of what a good architecture is. And I will give now a short introduction of this theory of good architecture. It starts with developing a system. You have to develop a system. And because you're developing on the system can be a new system, it can be an existing system, and you have to make an extension to that, or maybe you're working on a subsystem of a larger system. All of that is possible. As a result of your working on your system, you have a system environment. For example, you have to deal with user interfaces, you have to deal with some legislation, the government. Maybe there's an existing network infrastructure topology that you're working with, or there are other projects in your organization that you have a relation with. All of this is in your system environment, and the architect needs to create a validated image of this environment. And this brings us to the first C of good architecture, which is correctness. Correctness is about the system fitting the environment. In order to do that, you need to create a good image of this environment. The second part is where you just start defining your architecture. You make a set of models. You do that maybe in a modeling language like UML, or maybe you write formal specifications. Maybe you write English text. Maybe you make hand-drawn pictures of the architecture. All of this is possible. And one of the most important properties of all these statements is that they fit together too. They fit together. They are not contradictory. And not only to themselves, but also to the image you have of the environment. And this brings us to the second C of good architecture, which is consistency. Consistency means that your architecture is well engineered. As an architect, you also have to work with a lot of different people, stakeholders, a lot of different stakeholders. There might be people from the government, maybe auditors that you have to work with. Maybe you talk with end users or end user representatives. Or maybe you have the business manager to talk with, who has ideas about the return on investment of the system. And with all these people you have to communicate. You either have to maybe understand what they find important, analyze and negotiate requirements with them, or maybe you have to convey your architecture to them. You have to advocate the architecture. This brings us to the third C of good architecture, which is communicated. Communication is about everybody knows what they should know. The course itself can be seen along two perspectives, activities and concepts. Activities, we're talking about the main architecting activities, which is analysis, define, definition, and advocacy. And reasoning is everywhere. It's during analysis you reason, during definition you reason, during advocacy you reason. So in the course I will teach you these steps, these activities, and give you guidelines for doing them. The other part is the concepts. So this is quite an extensive view of the architecting concepts that we treat in the course. And I will also give you guidelines and explain how to use them and how to use them to capture and do architecting and manage your architecture. The target audience of the course are people with a technical background in software development. So software engineers, technical designers, maybe you're a lead tester, also possible. And they have architecture, and you have architecture aspirations. This means that you have to understand that your technical design has to be put in the context of the business process, especially the customer value and the customer needs. but also other stakeholders. The other aspect is that the technical design is put in the context of the whole development process. So this can be the standards and the people and the way of working in the organization that you're working in as an architect. So architecting, as you will see during this course, is a lot more than just technical design. Okay, this was my short introduction to the course Good Software Architecture. If you want to know more, you can contact me or High Tech Institute with questions. And I hope you're interested and hope to see you soon at the course.